Alright, today we're having a look at Silhouette Journey by M1 Bro. Alright, so here we are in Silhouette Journey by M1 Bro, and already I'm liking the look of it. A lot of times when we see silhouette levels, they tend to be, the cameras tend to be flat on, and I'm kind of liking this slightly canted camera angle. It's really bringing out how flat the pieces are in the background, and I'm actually meaning that in a positive sense. I like that they look like they've been cut out of paper. Now, okay. I don't know if that's just like stylistic that they have the numbers come up like that, but I'm guessing it probably is not actually as part of a puzzle. Now, it does seem a little bit that some of the lighting is giving us a not actually silhouette effect where it should be just straight two colors, like just black and just white. We're getting a lot of shades of gray here. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't want to give the impression that it's a priori a bad thing, but it's also not precisely a silhouette. Oh, fudge. I shouldn't have died there. That wasn't a place to die. That was actually a terrible place to die. Got some nice signposting going on. I appreciate that. I don't know if it's 100% necessary because there's no other real way to interact, and it wasn't really a surprise that we would need to interact, but sometimes, I don't know, what's the good balance on signposting? Is it better to have too much signposting or too little? I suppose it really depends on the type of level that you're making. Like a puzzle level with too much signposting will just make the puzzles too simple. I mean, it's forgivable here. I don't think it's really a problem that we've got a little bit more signposting than entirely necessary. Here. Oh, got some color in. I shouldn't be, I'm not dragging down points for sometimes having the silhouette effect broken. It can be difficult to put together a really nice silhouette level. And I have played a number that haven't actually really worked. Now, these are hazardous, but I wonder what type of hazards they are. I'm not going to die to see what they were, but... Anyway... Press... Oh, I get what you want me to do here. A little bit slow, but that's fine. That's fine. We're okay with that. I do kind of wish... I know I said that I wasn't going to knock any points, but I do kind of wish that this had been a little bit more true as a silhouette level. I love silhouette levels. I really, really do. But this is only kind of sort of a silhouette level. I'm going to get to the point where saying silhouette over and over is just going to break my brain. And it's not going to seem like a word anymore. Okay. Now, like, will we want the green one down here? Should we have... How do we get the green one to be there, is the thing? Because I need... Oh, okay. Oh, but did we just fudge this? Like, we totally just fudged this. Or not. Oh, I'm gonna need to think about that puzzle. I was looking at my clock, and I totally did not notice that there was an R1 there. So there was signposting provided that was necessary, and I didn't pay attention. Good job, Risco. Good job. Also, apologies for my voice. It's like 4:30 in the morning. I have no choice. Oh, crumbs! Oh, we're so close. We're just gonna finish this out. Okay. Don't panic. A little bit over 3 minutes. That's okay. That's totally okay. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. Yes! And we did it! And we are going to go back to the hub, and we will see you there. See yas! And we're back. And Silhouette Journey by M1Bro _. And it's a green circle, but I do have to say that it's a much softer green circle, I think, than other ones that we've looked at in the past. It's not by any means, and I want to be very clear when I say it's a softer green circle, it's not by any means a poorly done level. I had a good time with it. I found it very chill and relaxing, but it doesn't really push the boundaries all that much, and I wouldn't say ultimately that it's actually a silhouette level. Now, it's kind of funny. I've played a lot of silhouette levels in LBP in the past, and I had a very particular image in mind when I was thinking of what that meant or what that implied to me as a player. And, you know, kind of very flat presentation, two-tone, just usually like a black and a brighter background, either a white or orange or yellow were the ones that tended to be quite more common in the past. A very little fine line detail. And I had this image in my mind, and I went and I looked so I could get some extra footage to give a comparison between this level and ones I'd played in the past, and I couldn't find any that really captured that image of silhouette to me. You know, thanks for LBP me being down, I suppose. Thanks, Sumo. Don't get that going too quickly. I did come across Haunted Halloween, and I didn't write down the creator's name, which is my fault. And that was a nice one, a good example of the orange background type. It wasn't quite perfect. You do get some places in it where you can see the fine details on your sack thing model, but that was a pretty good one. Also ran into Noirville by Kaiju Kid, Kaiju _Kid. That was a little bit closer to what my image of was of a silhouette level. Still not quite nailing it, but it did have a really good presentation, really interesting presentation, and I think that it's interesting to point out that both of those levels were from LBP2, and I feel like the silhouette boom was kind of that LBP2 era. But that's enough about those levels. What about this one? And as I said, it really doesn't do anything particularly wrong. You've got I think a nice presentation throughout. I do think the presentation was pretty cool throughout. Some good shaping in the background, decent material choices, no issues there. Always easy to see yourself on screen, see your interaction with the level, which is important. I appreciate it. Mentioned signposting in the video, and I think there was maybe a little bit more signposting than was perhaps 100% necessary. I think that some of those places where you're jumping and grabbing, it would have been fairly obvious to the player how you were supposed to interact with those sections. The one bit that I found was kind of interesting, because there's one bit where you'll definitely get killed if you don't react quickly enough, and the signposting comes almost too late to actually get you to react. But when you're launched up, and if you don't grab quickly, you'll be thrown into the spikes. But that's a fairly common obstacle, and I think that players would wrap their minds around that relatively quickly. They might get killed the first time, but probably not killed too many times in succession. The level itself is relatively short. We kind of made a mistake on the video, and I set the timer wrong. It should have only been 3 minutes and ended up being 4. We still ended up completing it in a little bit over 4 minutes, but in actuality, playing through a number of times afterwards, and I was able to complete it fairly easily without rushing too much, around 3 minutes 10 seconds. So it slots in, I think, as a really nice cooldown level. So that was no issue at all. As far as things that I thought were maybe a little bit poorly handled, and it's all presentation wise, to be honest, the choice of electricity as a hazard, I think, doesn't really look all that great, particularly in this level. You see it when you're doing the climbing sections and the electrified blocks that are coming up, and I just don't think they look nice for the level. As well, the crusher blocks that we see, that they're just these big kind of nasty glowing beveled blocks, and they're fine. You know, they do what's necessary to present an obstacle for the player, but they don't have a particularly nice look to them. The other one I noticed that I think I mentioned in the video as well, there's that block sliding puzzle where you you've got to get the smaller block on top down first. Well, you don't have to. We'll talk about that. You want to get that one down first, then you want to get the slightly larger block down second, and in order to show the order of how those blocks are supposed to go, they M1 Bro has made them blue and green, and then orange on the final block that you're going to jump to get over the complication. And just having those colors just pop right out in a level that's mostly been sticking to grays and whites and shades of blacks and whites and shades of gray, and I think it stands out in a poor way, especially because the order of those blocks not actually very important. You can get on top of the second block without the first block, like the first block in sequence, without any real problem at all. So it's not like you have to have them in the correct order. So that was, I mean, it was an unusual stylistic choice. I didn't really like it, but it's certainly not enough to bring the level down. I think if you sit down with this one, if you've got levels, for example, that you're having a lot of frustration with, and you sit down with this one as a nice like cool down level to get yourself back in the mood to playing LBP, I think it's very good. I think in fact it's a pretty excellent level. M1 Bro, you've done a great job. Thank you for taking the time to put this together and bring it out to the community. I always appreciate seeing new levels coming into play. Although this one's not really super new. This is from 2020, October 2020, so a couple years back, but still new-ish. And that pretty much does it for us this go about. A nice, short, easy one. Kind of short, easy one for us. But from me, Risco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.